What were you doing when they discovered water on Mars? Or when they found this on the ground of the red planet? Well, many people in those moments could be living their everyday lives, in the kitchen or even in the bathroom. But there are always those who are amazed by these great discoveries, who make us think, are we really alone? Today, I'm going to show you some findings and also curious reports that put us in a position relatively close to saying that aliens really exist. After all, something strange was found on Mars and it shocked NASA. Come with me, don't subscribe to forget. Because I'm Tiago Tadeo and welcome to the Upside Down. Floating. The first of our reports is far from being a Martian encounter, but it generates as much debate as if they had found life on the ground of the red planet. Recently, in a city called Haikou, a footage was taken with something surprising. By pointing the camera to the sky, the owner of the video can witness an unbelievable scene of a floating city, guys. However, a detail. You can see that all the shadows present in the clouds are from buildings or even constructions very similar to those we have on Earth. But as we well know, human beings have not yet discovered a way to raise houses in the clouds, right? Obviously, the images went all around the world, and wherever they went, generating a series of theories. Some people say that it was a gap between different dimensions, which made it possible to glimpse a city that does not exist in our dimension. Other people believe that it would be a kind of divine city where gods or celestial beings full of wisdom live. There are also those who hypothesize that this is a camouflaged alien megaship, which for a few seconds can be visible to the human eye. All of these theories are plausible, but of course, there is a clear explanation for this phenomenon. Some websites explain that this could just be a natural optical effect, you see? That has to do with some light refraction. And here we are theorizing about it being a lot of things. But who knows? It's all guesswork. There are those people who only believe if they have a scientific report. And there are those who create the things they really believe. Is that you? What team are you playing for? Light in the sky. In a recording without much explanation in China, we remain on the eastern side of the planet, but this time we're going to talk about a discovery made in Australia. A 22-year-old student named Tyrone Doherty was conducting a radio wave research when he came across something unique. The Australian found a kind of light from the sky that flickered on and off in an unusual way, almost as if it were a spinning object, but millions of light years away from Earth. The initial impact of Tyrone's discovery was surprising, because no one really knew how to explain that intergalactic phenomenon, right? Because of these issues, the theory that they could be alien actions was on the table. In this hypothesis, the aliens carried out some activity that caused this point in the sky to blink from time to time, which was discarded by the scientists. That's because the way it happened seemed to be too natural and not an action controlled by some intelligent being. Now, is it really, guys? Alien diseases. In July 2022, the curious North Korean government made a statement that to many may have sounded like a loophole for an exciting theory about aliens. According to the country's official governments, the first outbreak of coronavirus, which would have occurred there on the North Korean borders, began because of, open quotes here, okay, alien things, close quotes. Those few words were enough to heat up the ufology community and leave everyone with a flea behind their ear. Was it really the aliens' fault? The incident that led to the spread of the disease on North Korean soil took place on the border with South Korea. This leads us to the more conscious explanation that the disease could have occurred due to several balloons that were launched by humanitarian initiatives. But the speech of the North Korean government leaves many questions open here. Did they really refer to the people of the south of the peninsula? Or were they really aliens? Was it just a provocation like all the others made between these countries? Or were there aliens operating in that region? Well guys, so far, We don't have any answers, but we do have a lot of questions, right? Favorable conditions. Finally, arriving at Mars, but not yet with this curious discovery. Wait a little longer and I'll comment on this great finding later. Before that, let's talk about another great expedition that found frozen water on Mars. The mineral considered one of the most precious for life, at least the one we know of, right, was found in a solid state in a region at the lowest latitude of the red planet. The fact has led many scientists to delirium, because this may be a great fact for future research, as conspiracy theorists are almost absolutely sure that the existence of frozen water can indeed mean life on Mars. The researchers themselves understood that further studies in this direction need to be carried out in the region, but they are more cautious with this information. In the end, the discovery of frozen water could trigger a series of other findings that could mean life on our neighboring planets. Let's wait for the next chapters. Queen's Jubilee. Back on Earth, more specifically to England, the Platinum Jubilee of the late Queen Elizabeth II of the United Kingdom had a presence that, well, for some, confirms again the existence of intelligent life from another planet, right? During the UK Air Force's demonstration, a bright light passes in front of the cameras very quickly. The phenomenon, in addition to being quite impressive, is quite curious, because it leaves a lot of scope for ufological explanations. Nobody understood for sure what happened during Queen Elizabeth's party, but there are those who believe that the light could be an extraterrestrial spaceship, which some argued back then could also prove that the Queen is not a real human being, as certain mouths said. What do you believe, huh? 1 year in Japan. From the island of the United Kingdom to the island of Japan, the International UFO Observatory shared with the public the first study carried out by the organization since they settled in Fukushima in the summer of 2021. In that period, the Institute recorded 452 sightings of unidentified objects, with nearly 150 of these events photographed or even filmed. The Japanese territory is already well known for the movements of UFOs there, but this preliminary study indicates that we are certainly not alone, you see? That's because the Institute says that most of these sightings were not a mistake about birds or balloons. What would actually be, well, it's difficult to say at the moment. But with these institutions being raised every day, questions about leaks being protected by the government. In short, a series of other things happened. Soon, we will know a lot about aliens. Harborne Case. Back in the UK, more specifically in Harborne, footage taken by a doctor surprised many people. Mohammed Solana managed to make a cell phone video of lights moving quickly across the sky. The finding was reflected in several local, national, and worldwide newspapers, with everyone debating. What would these lights with high maneuverability be? For some people, these are just normal drones, something that is not out of the ordinary and couldn't be seen by anyone, right? But what if it's not drones, guys? The biggest explanation for being extraterrestrials is the fact that the lights move too fast. No drone would be able to make such moves. True or not, the record was taken, and while what is not real is not revealed, the fleas are left for those who seek the question. Martian spaghetti. The most famous recent NASA discovery was this thing, called by some people Martian spaghetti. This tangle of lines is far from something common to be found by rovers sent to Mars. Right away, many people believe that this could be a kind of root or even fossil of some plant, which would point to life on the red planet, right? Even if it had existed millions of years ago. Unfortunately, NASA gave everyone a cold shoulder during the reveal of the image. That's because the agency's explanation is that this could just be space junk from the arrival of some rover sent to Mars. An explanation that didn't stop people from theorizing about the finding. After all, they said it could be, which is very vague, right? We know that. Moon wells. In the same month that the Martian noodles were discovered, an equally impressive finding for terrestrial space research was made. That's because scientists have discovered that the lunar wells have ideal conditions for human life to be relatively peaceful. Let's explain this better. The moon is not exactly in a very pleasant environment, right? Because in addition to not having oxygen, it does not have very cozy temperatures. The point is that inside these lunar wells, the climate always remains around 17 degrees. Now, if we let ourselves theorize about these wells, these places are good for human life, at least in terms of climate. Wouldn't it be interesting for other alien species as well? You know what I'm getting at, right? Caieiras case. To end today's video, I want to hear from you. Anyone from Caieiras, Sao Paulo, and Brazil watching me right now? Well then, the next story is right from this small town in the southeastern state. On July 14th, 2022, an accident occurred in the region near Ajoá Road in Morro Grande, Brazil. A huge noise was heard in the distance. The sun and the glare were watched by several people in the city, and according to some reports, the military forces acted in readiness to carry out searches, all to find something that was not related to the people and that was not reported in the main newspapers. Several reports still say that strange creatures were seen in the forest that day. The point is that despite so many searches, no plausible answers were given to people. What really happened? Well, usually incidents like that can only mean one thing, right? What do you think about it all? Leave your opinion here in the comments. I'll see you in the next video then, guys. Be well, take care, and until next time, peace.